I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How are you?
So far, so good.
Okay, welcome to the April 8th workshop meeting of Plymouth Council. We did our pledge. So I'm sorry.
I don't see, I'm sorry, but I don't see the first presenter, so we could have the EAB go first. They're here. If you want. I don't see anybody else in the audience, but EAB. Nobody's here for 1508 Sandy Hill yet.
Okay. All right, so we have the Environmental Advisory Board first on the agenda for this workshop.
Sorry, the blind, you have some charts?
Oh,
So your charts are all in your books, too. You put them in there. It's easier.
Is that better? I mean, should we have it?
well, we will have to move and turn off the lights to do that, so let me just grab my stuff here. Because our heads get in the way of the projector, so we just need to move aside.
Are you saying you have a big head?
I do have a big head, yes. Bigger than you can imagine, something like that.
Sorry. All right. So obviously there are many single-use plastic ordinances being passed across the U.S. and states and different big cities. Within Pennsylvania, a lot of this is being led by a Penn Environment group, a nonprofit within the state. They've got a lot of resources that they've shared with us and we've shared with council and the municipality. One of the things that they provided us was a template ordinance that we then provided to the township. Since the time when we provided it, then it went on and was passed on to the solicitor and generated its own Plymouth version of that ordinance. We have in the last few weeks had a chance to review what the solicitor had put together as a draft ordinance for Plymouth Township. So we were unsure of what the process was between receiving that template and what is now the draft ordinance, but we wanted to come back here and discuss some of the differences, some of the primary points that we saw discrepancies with that draft ordinance, the template that we had provided, and some of the concerns we had going forward with it. So there are basically 5 points that we wanted to cover, and really we're just seeking the strongest ordinance and consistency, across the different ordinances that are being used by different municipalities around the county and around the state. So 5 points is the use of paper bags using recycled content, reusable carry-out bags, the requirement to post signage by the merchant, the fee that the merchants can apply to the paper bags, and then besides the single-use plastic bags, also some stipulations on the use of plastic utensils and straws. And then at the bottom of the chart here, thank you, Bill, for putting this together, doing some data mining. So there's 6 different municipalities around the county that have passed this type of ordinance. And this is going through and comparing these 5 points to what those different ordinances present. So you see the first 3 points, they all agree. They all have these items included in their ordinances. The last 2 are a little bit of a mix. Some of them agree with what we're proposing, some of them do not. I call out White Marsh, the last row in the table there, as completely agreeing with what we're proposing here, and also being, I believe, our closest neighbor. So we'll have some charts just walking through each of the 5 points that we wanted to talk about. So in the draft ordinance that was put together for Plymouth, the draft just bans the distribution of paper bags, really without any further description or information. We are proposing a complete ban on non-recycled paper bags. However, conversely, we'd like to introduce the idea of allowing recycled paper bag usage, and then the excerpt here on the bottom explains what we mean by recycled paper bags. So that's the definition that would be acceptable to use within the municipality. And then I just want to call it, so each of these charts will bring up the issue that we're talking about. The box on the bottom will be an excerpt from one of the other townships within the county that have passed an ordinance, and this is a text that appears in their ordinance. It's similar with what we would propose. So this one's from White Marsh. I think that a few of them are from White Marsh. So just on reusable carryout bags, the draft Plymouth meeting ordinance contains no text on reusable carryout bags. What we would like to do is add it back in. Two reasons for this. We really want to seek clarity. If you're silent on the matter, I think it could be confusing what is allowed there, what isn't allowed there. So we'd like to be explicit, have it in there, promote that clarity. And second of all, we are looking to promote the use of reusable bags. We don't want to just be quiet on it. We actually want to promote it as a good, environmentally healthy item to pursue. So we'd like to explicitly include it in the ordinance. And then we have the signage requirements that would be required for the merchants to post. This is from the time when the ordinance is passed until, assuming there's 90 days or whatever time period until it actually goes into effect. So this would be posted after it's passed, but before it really goes into practice, so that customers know what's coming. They'll see it as they're checking out from the different merchants that they're going to in the township. And it gives them a chance, one, to become familiar with it and be comfortable with it, but two, if they haven't yet gone out and tried to purchase or acquire, a lot of reusable bags that just get handed out. Maybe they've been passing up on the opportunity. Maybe now, knowing that this ordinance is passed, they'll say, no, I'm going to grab one. I'm going to need it in the near future. So just to provide clarity to the community and let them prepare for this change coming.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew Comboy. I'm on the Plymouth EAB as well. I'm just going to finish up the last few slides. A comment that came up in the Plymouth draft suggested reducing the fee per paper bag from 15 cents to 10 cents. We are open to decreasing that fee, but we encourage, and we would rather see a 15-cent fee because we think that's a better incentive for folks to get in the habit of bringing their reusable bags instead of buying a paper bag each time. We want folks to, get used to bringing reusable bags. That's the ultimate goal. So we feel like a 15-cent fee would drill that home more so than a 10-cent fee. But looking at our neighbors here, West Norton and White Marsh townships have a 15-cent fee, and Upper Moreland, Upper Marion, Montgomery, and Lower Marion townships have a 10-cent fee. So it's a little bit mixed there. Penn Environment recommends a 15-cent fee for that same reason. We agree with them. And lastly is regarding single-use utensils and straws. Our ordinance is not looking to ban these, but we did originally have some verbiage in here that would make these items available upon request by the customer, either at the the checkout counter or the drive-through, instead of being automatically given to the customer in their bag. And we feel strongly that this should remain in the ordinance because Penn Environment has data and studies that show that this simple change significantly reduces the single-use plastic that consumers use a lot of times because they don't need them or they don't want to ask for them. You know, they're taking the drive-through food home. They're going to eat it at home where they have utensils anyway. So we feel that this verbiage should remain in the ordinance because, again, it's not an outright ban. These items are still available to consumers if they need them, plastic straws and plastic utensils. And looking at our neighbors again, Montgomery Township and Upper Moreland have straws available upon request. And then Upper Merion and White Marsh have both straws and plastic utensils available upon request. So it would be more consistent with our neighbors as well. So to conclude, I think we're just looking to have the strongest version of this ordinance that we can before the town hall on May 29th. And we want to just clarify these points as well to remain consistent with our neighbors, our neighboring municipalities. And once we can kind of agree on some of these points, we will build a web page. We have a web page drafted that we will put out there for Plymouth Township residents to learn more about this ordinance and what to expect from it. We will also develop a presentation for this ordinance at the town hall, and we'll develop signage for merchants to display as well if they need help with that. So we just are looking for some clarification and guidance on the draft ordinance here. So, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Maria. Are you taking any questions?
Yeah, happy to take questions, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I have a question.
Usually council first.
So, questions from any members of council? Nick, do you have questions on that presentation, or?
I'm good.
You good?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So I think somewhere before, not in this presentation, but somewhere before when we were talking about the plastic bag ban, I think it was mentioned that there was a study done on the amount of money charged at the checkout for a bag. Do you have more information on that study and how it was done, or do you have like a link or anything like to that study? I'm just curious about like what that study said about, you know, having it. I'm assuming the study looked at differences between places that did 15 cents, 10 cents, a quarter, etc. But I don't know if you know more about that.
I mean, Penn Environment, some did the study, or has it, so we think we might have to go back to Penn Environment. We don't get that request.
Okay.
Do you have data on like how many plastic bags we would save, or can we get data prior to the town hall? How much we would save from being used?
Yeah, that's a good point. I know Penn Environment has data from municipalities who have passed a similar ordinance, like in White Marsh. They have a map of a lot of municipalities around the state, and they've, you know, in White Marsh they estimate, I think, 7.2 million per year.
Right, and that's
It
significant.
would save, avoid plastic, 7.2 million plastic bags being used. So, yeah, it's pretty significant. I would assume it might be a similar number in Plymouth. I don't know if White Marsh has more or less retail, but we have a mall, and so
Yeah, we might be even more.
So, yeah. But I don't know if they have that data for municipalities that haven't passed it
Yeah.
yet. Do you know? They do? Okay, so we can get that.
I think it's a calculator based on population.
Okay.
So I think in addition to population, also number of retail shops. I mean, we're pretty heavy in retail
Yeah.
compared to, say, like Conshohocken, or which doesn't have one, I understand it, or even White Marsh. We have a lot of retail.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Lynn.
No. So I just wanted to clarify, so the paper bag, so non-recycled paper bags would be prohibited, but a retailer could still use a paper bag if they charge whatever, whether it's 10 or 15 cents, as long as it's a recycled paper bag.
Yeah, yep. And there's a definition on there. I think it was
Yeah.
no old growth fiber was used
Yep.
at 40%.
40%.
Yeah, that's it. So I had a question also on the paper bags. You said that the recycled ones that they could give out, are there, I guess I'm wondering if we would be limiting the number of manufacturers that they could go to? Are there a good number of manufacturers that retailers can purchase the recycled paper bags? I mean, I'm just wondering if we're going to limit it to like one or two manufacturers, which,
Right. Okay. There's a supplier list. I haven't reviewed
We'd
it.
have to look at a couple of townships, they have examples of supplier lists.
okay, but we're not like favoring just one or two suppliers here. Okay.
And is there any chance that the retailer would consider those bags, like the recycled paper bags, to be significantly more costly or less, to Karen's point, kind of like less available or less accessible through their supply chain? I mean, I like the idea, I just wouldn't want the retailers to be like, holy cow, you know, we have to buy these expensive recycled paper bags now and charge 15 cents to give them away, but they cost us 20, or, I mean,
Well, the 15 cents is the minimum. We're not directing how much they can charge, but that's the minimum.
And that's another thing with the higher charge per bag. It helps them cover their costs more than like 10 cents. I think with 15 cents they would, more than that. They would make more than using or purchasing.
I would just want to be sure we didn't create a situation that they felt was unreasonable.
Well, part of the issue is the idea that we're trying to change behaviors of the consumer. We're not punishing the businesses. We're just trying to get people to use their own bags so that we cut down trash and plastic.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Can you clarify the reusable carryout bags? Is that something that would be offered free of charge? Is that the option, or is this something that they would be able, I'm just wondering what that is, the reusable carryout bags?
I mean, the ordinance is not directing that they're free of charge. I mean, you could also put a minimum of 15 cents on them, but really it's up to the retailer to decide how much they want to charge for their reusable bag. But I mean, we say you still can bring in your own, like you can today, and often you can get those for free being handed out at fairs or other events.
I think like the green bags that Charlene has, like just the reusables.
But they charge for those.
Like 99.
Like
Yeah,
99
it's
or
like 99
$1.19.
cents or
Not cheap.
$1. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not free, I mean,
No.
most
Yeah,
people don't
I mean, I guess my concern, if they were to be free reusable carryout bags, then we'd see reusable carryout bags flying everywhere. I mean, didn't that happen in Philadelphia? The red reusable bags ended up littering the streets? I thought I read that somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not in my neighborhood.
Not in your neighborhood? Well, we know no one does anything bad in your neighborhood.
Any questions?
Anyone else have questions? Do you have concerns?
No.
Okay, let me see if I had any other questions.
The only other question I had is, given the other municipalities that have already passed something, is there anything, like have we gone to them and learned anything about their experience that we've factored into our requests?
I'd say Penn Environment is receiving that feedback and continues to evolve their
Yeah.
ordinance. I mean, a lot of the points that the fees being applied, the reason why, I mean, they're not receiving a lot of negative pushback.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the advantage of the model ordinance that Penn Environment put together is the fact that the majority of Montgomery County, Chester, and others have started to use this, so we'd be consistent with all of our neighbors as they continue to adopt this ordinance.
Would that be important then to get?
Oh, it's just, I mean, it's always interesting, like lessons learned, like, hey, we did it and we gave people 3 months to adjust, but oh boy, that was a mistake, I wish we had said 6. Like, it's just, it's always interesting to know what somebody's experience was and if there's anything we can learn from it.
You could invite Karen to the public meeting just to answer those questions, if you like, or hold another workshop with him, just so you can help answer those questions. It might be worth delaying the public meeting from May until later, so that we have more time to resolve these questions.
I really don't like the idea of delaying the town hall. I mean, some people are already talking about it and have May 29th in their minds, and it just seems that delaying it puts off getting the ordinance up and going. And
Or would you, if you have questions or concerns, would you be okay inviting them to the public meeting next week so you could ask
oh,
them?
sure, of course, of course.
I mean, would that be an important step to be prepared for May?
Pardon?
Audience participation, yeah.
Yeah.
If he's
We can maybe
available.
let him
If
be
he's
a part of the
available.
audience participation, or, you know, at the beginning,
Yeah,
comments on the
You'd probably
agenda.
have to dial in, it'd be
Okay.
remote, but I could ask him if he's available.
Okay. Any other council members have?
But he's going to be present at the town hall.
Do you anticipate that he'll be present at our town hall?
I could ask him. I don't
Okay, but I mean, he hasn't, been- I just wondered if you had already planned
I
that.
didn't suggest to it yet because I didn't know what the next steps would be, but I could contact him and see if he is available.
It might be so nice
If
just
that's
to have it
important.
at the town hall, not bring him in multiple times. But
Yeah.
yeah, you know.
I mean, would you like to invite?
I think his presence would be more helpful at the town hall, because the purpose of the town hall is to answer residents' questions
That's right.
and let them raise their concerns.
That's right.
And he certainly has the breadth of knowledge of what's been happening in our entire metro area, so,
I just thought that the 3 questions you asked recently would be helpful if you wanted to understand his response to those before you go to the public meeting. That's all I'm suggesting, you could come to or you could come to the May workshop. You know, you could also ask him those questions during the May workshop on the phone.
or he could get the information to us by an email or something. I mean, I just hate to drag him out to Plymouth multiple times. He's already been here once, which we really appreciate, and
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. If we could just ask somebody to codify those questions and send us an email, and then we'll make sure they get answered questions.
if you'd like, I mean, you want to bring him multiple times? I don't know how the rest of y'all feel.
That's fine.
What?
Send, codify the questions, send him an email.
Okay. It might be easier for
Yeah.
him. Okay. But it would be helpful if he's available and amenable to come on May 29th, because he probably can answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, he likes to come to public meetings. He's been attending the majority of those in the last
Nobody likes to come to
half year, 2 years.
All right. Any other questions? Or this has been very helpful. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate all
The only
this.
question would be though, for the draft that's presented at the public meeting, will these changes be incorporated that were requested?
Hasn't been advertised yet.
No, and it wouldn't be for the town hall anyway, it would just be the draft, but, yeah, they're asking.
And we're not taking any action at the town hall,
No,
right?
no, it has to be a draft, but I know the board's looking
Yeah,
to
and
the
I think,
council to see if the draft ordinance could be amended, so that they have a draft, they want a final draft for their town hall.
And for the website.
Yeah, that where all the proposed
We'd like
are.
to get the signage
Yeah.
to the website, everything ready before the public meeting.
Yeah. So you would have to direct
well, and then
them.
before the ordinance can go into effect, we have to have, you know, our advertisement and
Sure.
first consideration and then final vote, so it's,
But I
It'll
think
take them a couple
it'd be
months,
good to have the draft,
The final draft.
at least how we would like to
Yeah, I
advertise it,
agree.
ready for that town
Yes.
hall. So that way the residents like
Yes.
can comment on specifically what we intend to propose, if there's not that much pushback.
Staff is to do that, or it's up to you guys? if you're going to ask, direct the solicitor to make those changes or not. Like, they,
I don't know, I mean, how do y'all feel about the proposed changes, what are they, 15 cents and signage and,
I mean, personally, I like 10 cents over 15. However, I don't see
You can also change
that, right,
town hall if people don't like it.
exactly. I'd like to hear people's thoughts on it.
yeah, we can change our draft. I mean, we may get some kind of input at the town hall that would want us to.
And, I mean, I think it would be a good idea to go for the higher amount that's being proposed and see what people think.
How the rest of you feel about 15 cents rather than 10?
So one of the things we have been advising other clients who are considering a similar ordinance is even after you advertise, if you're at 15 cents and you drop it to 10, or you drop it to 5, or you raise it to 20 or 25, you don't need to re-advertise. If you eliminate it completely, then we're calling that a substantial amendment, and then you would have to re-advertise.
Okay.
But as long as you leave the fee in there, this way anyone who has notice, anyone who is interested in there being a fee has noticed that there will be a fee, so you wouldn't need to re-advertise if you adjusted it even the night of the vote, so.
Okay.
yeah, and we're not going to advertise anything before the town hall. No, because
Right.
it might change.
Right.
But we'll have it
I would
available.
like to, but I would, after the town hall, and everybody's in agreement, to me, then you advertise after that. So it really would not be adopted in June, it would most likely be
And then
July.
But a draft of this
Yeah,
is
but-
going to be on their website,
No,
right?
the township's website, all proposed drafts, all proposed ordinances are on the township website. Doesn't mean you have to vote on it, it's just a proposed ordinance. It'd be a draft ordinance, like.
Karen, could I ask, for the public meeting, wouldn't we want to have the draft ordinance printed so that the public could be,
Sure, you could do that. I
and
mean,
go and want to put it on the website as a draft so that people can review it prior to the public meeting?
yes,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
so that's
the.
okay?
Yes,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sure,
Okay.
sure.
and
All
then,
proposed ordinances are on the website before they're before they're voted on.
Okay.
So this would be no different.
Because I'd rather have something in there in this draft ordinance before the town hall, wouldn't we want to add something about signage in the parking lot? I brought this up before, but this actually might be a good question for y'all. Has any other townships had anything in their ordinances about putting signage in the parking lot to remind people that they should bring a carryout bag in? Because I know I personally constantly forget it, and then when I get to the checkout, I'm like, I'm just going to buy these bags because I don't want to go out to my car.
What Trinidad did was they realized that issue, and so what they went to retailers and suggested, why don't we put a standing board sign outside the door? So besides having the print on the door, you could put the sign that's on the sidewalk or near the parking lot.
Right.
So that
It
would
wasn't
be-
part of the ordinance, but that was a recommendation.
That was a recommendation, but that wasn't in the ordinance. That was not a requirement in the ordinance. It was just a nice to have that the
Right.
VAB went to businesses and suggested, why don't you put a sign on prior to your entrance?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any way we could add that to the ordinance, just to have it in there so people see it?
as a requirement, or, I mean, some
kind of
places
requirement.
probably don't have the ability to do it.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
thinking, like at the, some places just don't, are really
Yeah,
that's
kind of
true.
small, but, I mean, I think it's a great recommendation for the retailers to be able to, have a sandwich board out there, and you're like, oh, run back and get your reusables.
We have seen where certain clients are requiring that there be signage on the doors going into the building. I think the problem within the parking lot is not all the businesses will have access, would be able to put something in a parking lot. If you take the mall property as an example, there are many businesses in there, so that they couldn't actually meet that requirement for each individual business. So, but we have seen where there are requirements that signs get put on the doors going into the store. So, and I have done the same thing as you do, and I normally just walk out carrying everything and then dropping something on the way out. So,
And I know I remember seeing at the Giant at White Marsh, they had signs on the doors, "It's coming." you know,
Oh, yeah.
kind of getting people prepared. And they're still surprised the day that it happens, but.
But it sounds like you're looking for direction, like you've asked us to reconsider a few things, like single-use the paper bags, the reusable carryouts, the signage requirements, and the paper bag fee, and the utensils and straws. It sounds like you've asked us to reconsider those, and you need an answer on whether or not we're going to reconsider them because you're trying to prepare for the presentation. Is that?
We'd like to
The
add
bottom
it
line,
to the
yeah.
draft so we can put it on the website.
And Alex has to revise the ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least, I mean, just to be fair, it sounds like if we at least gave you an answer, like yes, no, or maybe on those things, then you could plan going forward, and then Alex and Mike would also have to adjust the ordinance accordingly. But I mean, I thought I heard you, like, you kind of need some direction. Yes?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
So how do y'all feel about the special paper bags? Any thoughts, strong feelings that you want to limit the type of paper bags that manufacturers can give out for 10 or 15 cents?
To be clear, right now it says they are banned. It says paper bags are banned.
All paper bags, they're not banned, are they? You can still,
That's what the draft one
oh, the
says.
way
Yes.
it's written?
Yes.
Oh.
But that's
But I thought they
not
could
right.
buy them. Yeah, we can't ban paper bags.
Yeah.
People have to be able to
That's
buy
what the
it.
draft said.
I agree.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
just like a typo in the draft.
Yeah.
All right, yeah,
I
we need,
think it sounds like what happened is we took
No,
out,
you're banning certain types of paper bags.
Right,
Right.
but I think that got lost in somewhere in
Yeah.
the mix.
We're asking for the 40% content recycled bags to be specified in the ordinance, which is currently not.
I mean, I would just say, like, I'm okay with that, as long as it's not a hardship, as long as we're not putting retailers in a situation where those bags are hard to get to, or they're super expensive, like, as long as we're not creating a situation that makes them frustrated or angry that we've requested something unreasonable. But otherwise, it sounds like it makes sense, a recyclable paper bag sounds like a good idea.
We also won't be bound to this. This isn't like the binding thing, so I think it might be a good thing to just put in.
Yeah,
Let
I
it go
agree.
through the town hall,
Yep.
and
Yep.
if they feel it's going to be a hardship, then we can
Yeah.
make a final decision later, but I think it'd be good to include now.
And we'll find out.
And
I
let,
agree.
and let the businesses and the residents come and figure out and let us know what they think of it.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the information too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I like that idea, and also just finding out, like, so that we inform ourselves, like, yeah, like,
Right.
no, it's not unreasonable at all, you can get those bags, you know, there's a million providers of those, and they're cheap.
That was one of your questions that we had researched.
Yeah. And then, let's see, so the reusable carryout bag, you needed cash.
Just they should have that.
Is that just
Yeah.
saying that they can do that?
So
Can they not already?
That's,
Currently, the draft ordinance is silent on reusable bags. So we just wanted to, we want to promote them, we want, one, add clarity. If you don't put it in there, it's like, well, what is, they have to ask the question, what is the stance in there? Second of all, we want to promote, we believe reusable bags are a good thing, so we're just trying to put it in there, say, yes, we use paper bags.
Oh, would they have to have then the recyclable paper bags and reusable carryout bags available?
I don't believe it stipulates that in the template that Penny Ryan it doesn't say you have to have it. It just-
So this is just a clarification of another option if they don't want to have the paper bags, they don't want
Got
to deal
it.
with the fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can have reusable carryout bags.
they can sell
yeah.
reusable
I mean,
carryout
there's
bags.
Right.
current places today that
Yeah.
provide no bags, like,
Right.
you go to the warehouse or Aldi, they provide nothing.
Right.
So, yeah, so we wouldn't force it as much as just, I think to your point is, be explicit about it'd be helpful if they carry these. Like, we're encouraging them,
But we're not requiring.
not
them.
requiring them.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Okay,
And put signage in there?
signage in there.
And should we add a piece to that to say on the door going in as well?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 down, 2 to go. I've lost my place here. We're probably- Paper bag fee, oh, right, 10 or 15.
I think we go with 15, see what happens.
And we can always reduce it to 10? People are happier if you reduce than if you increase.
Yeah,
From a draft. I mean,
exactly.
There you go, done. Single-use utensils and straws, I'm okay with that, as long as they're
Yeah.
available if people ask.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable. So just put in that straws and,
We're good with that?
straws and
Yeah.
utensils available upon request.
Sounds good.
So should we draft a new, or add these to the ordinance and send it, or?
Well, our solicitor will do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did have a number of things, questions you asked, just to go through. Data on bags saved, data on 15 versus 10 cents, number of manufacturers for paper bags, reasonableness of paper bag cost, lessons learned, you gather some on that, and then inviting Farron from Penn Environment to either, whenever you can make a public meeting next week, we have a workshop and certainly the town hall.
I just don't think it makes sense.
Town hall for efficient.
I don't think it makes sense.
If we can get the
Yeah.
questions
Next week,
answered
the
in
public
email,
doesn't
is
know
the
that
town
this is
hall
being discussed.
sufficient for Farron?
What's that?
I'm sorry, if we can get the questions answered via email, is Farron okay just to come to the town hall? Or would you
I
like-
think just to
yeah.
the town hall.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to open up to the discussion at the regular meeting, because people who are there are just not prepared about what we're talking about, and I think it just may create a lot of confusion to raise those things and save him for the town hall. I think it'll create a lot less confusion,
Agreed. Thank you.
even though he loves coming out and seeing us.
Thank you all.
Oh, thank all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your hard work on this. I know you've been
Appreciate it. Thank
very
you.
hard at work on
Thank you for
it.
your support.
Thank you.
Bye, Maria. Bill. Thanks, Andy.
Shining more like lighting.
It's okay. Take your time. Karen, do we have the presenters for Branzini? Is that the one?
Yeah, the second
All right, next presentation, 1508 Sandy Hill Road, the Branzini construction.
Thank you, sorry we're late.
That's not a problem at all. We had another presentation all ready to go.
When we were told, it was just kind of like a quick introduction, just to kind of get a feel. So I didn't have anything presented, like slides and stuff like that.
That's fine.
So I'm sure you guys are all aware of the property on Sandy Hill, 1508.
Yeah, can we have your name so that the secretary
Sure.
for the minutes can take it down?
It's Hyon, last name Kang, from KCA Design Associates.
My name is David Brannigan, B-R-A-N-I-G-A-N, Branzini Construction.
So we're looking to see what, I guess you guys were hoping to see in the development in the back of 1508 Sandy Hill. We know the front, it's a residential, single-family home, larger lots. But it's a little bit tricky because as you go back towards the back of it, it touches Penn Street as well. The properties on Penn, those are C residential. And then it kind of swerves around, which is also C residential. And as A swerves all the way around on the back side of that, on Penn, those aren't really A residential lots. They are smaller lots, smaller homes. So we were wondering if you guys would take into consideration on those 3 parcels in the back, if we develop that as a C residential. Develop Sandy Hill as an A, and anything in between the Penn and Sandy Hill as a 9,000 square foot, 60-foot frontage, single-family homes, roughly about 28 single-family homes, with 2 cul-de-sacs on either end. We did speak to the fire marshal and the zoning officer, and they didn't seem to have too much thought either way. They just thought it'd be best that we come talk to you guys and see what you guys would.
If it stays a residential, how many single-family homes could fit?
I think that 9 could fit. So the challenges on this property is there's no utilities. Riverview stops, I think, probably about 900 feet away. Sandy Hill, the nearest hydrant's about 1,000 feet away.
Yeah, the water main is approximately 1,000 feet away at Forness and Sandy Hill, down by the car lot on the corner. That's according to American Water.
Yeah, I think Penn America has that. And Sandy Hill stops probably another, they don't even service that. Or Aqua America doesn't even service Sandy Hill, even though they're closer.
So it's roughly 1,000 feet away for the local, for the nearest water main that's accessible. There's one on Walnut, which is the small street that comes out, but that's a branch from
Single family.
back on Riverview.
There's another one coming from like Plymouth, but again, Plymouth Boulevard, but again, all
It's
those are,
It's roughly 1,000 feet.
every direction is about 1,000 feet. Fire code requires us to have, I think, a hydrant every 500, 600 feet.
2 or 3.
So we're gonna have to potentially do 2 or 3 fire hydrant extensions. The site itself is pretty challenging as well. It's not considered steep slope in some areas, but not. But it is, it's a challenging site. It's a challenging site.
34 feet of steepness.
Down at the bottom of the hill.
It's very steep.
Could you slide down it?
So it's to theoretically to develop an A home. It's really difficult to try to get anything there.
Why?
It's just the cost. I mean, it costs I think $800 a linear foot for any kind of supply.
You could do well in septic back there, and you end up with a fire problem.
You still have the fire hydrant issue.
With not being able, I guess one of the previous developers, there's 4 or 5 developers or more, I don't know how many people probably looked at the place and passed. I've looked at it, I guess they proposed for
A storage tank or something like
storage tank
that.
for fire, which they're against that.
Because they didn't figure out how to do a pump, all kinds of other stuff. Logistically, the storage tanks, that doesn't work. I mean, you're going to have a large amount of storage tanks. You're going to have the sprinklers. You still have to have some kind of fire hydrant. And to service 9 homes, having 3 fire hydrants extending pretty much close to 2,000 linear feet. That's before you do any kind of turns or bends. That's just straight runs without any downhills. I mean, we're looking potentially a half a mile of infrastructure work that has to be done. And for 10 homes, it's really not
Troy,
going to.
Troy, the fire. If it wasn't for the fire, you said would do well in
Probably
septic.
well in
It would
septic.
do. it's
What about all those
Septic, you need
trees?
an acre,
Troy,
per.
the-
Yes, that's
Septic,
why
you need
it's
1 acre per
It's
lot.
7 points, septic is 7, but because there's 4 lots here, it equals, in the back, it would equal to, I think, 8.
Yeah, the previous developers floated a plan over to us that had 4 houses with 4 drainage basins with 2 tanks, which I don't know. We showed it to the fire marshal and
The zoning officer, the old-
and they weren't keen to put a bunch of the ideas in there. No one really wanted to build it like that either.
They all wanted
Fire-
infrastructure.
You're gonna have to put a water tower back there, and then who's gonna check it to make sure it's full, and what if there's a fire and they run out, and then you don't have enough and nobody's checking it, so it's just all a challenge, makes the site more challenging than it already is.
What happens to
So-
all those trees?
Well, I walked back there and saw a lot of the trees, there's a few really nice trees back there that we would work around.
Well, we can definitely try to save.
There's a lot of smaller stuff that we would replace.
How many would be gone?
We wouldn't know, because, I mean, until we decide what residential district that we would get,
There's a
It's
couple,
hard to
there's a
say.
couple gorgeous trees back there. I don't know what type of tree they are, but they're gorgeous. They're giant. We would love to keep them back there. I'm sure there's going to be trees removed from there. There's also a lot of underbrush, debris, like stuff that maybe not as nice. And we'd be glad to put more trees back to replace ones. I think it's part of the code anyway.
Yeah,
So they're-
Well,
whatever.
they're soaking up a lot of the water
15,
coming off that
going
slope
in,
too, aren't they,
yeah.
those tree roots?
It would actually help. So when you start developing the site, you know, we would have to design for stormwater management.
Yeah, from an
Engineering standpoint, it would be better than the way it is now.
Yeah, from an engineering standpoint, there'd be less water coming off afterwards than there's coming off there now.
Because we are required to maintain 100% of the water. So the houses at the bottom of the, I guess, gully, if it does kind of like inflow, it should reduce it. I'm not going to say they're not, it should reduce the amount of water going down that hill.
So everything we would develop would get picked up into some
I
kind
don't know what this is.
some kind
And an
of
overflow basin
engineered
as well.
engineered infrastructure for the stormwater management.
So does your plan, can I just ask, does your plan still come through 1508
Yes.
Yes.
and still in a little driveway alongside the current home?
Well,
Like the
1508 is
plan that-
125 feet wide, the frontage. So
Yeah, but
we-
I'm saying about the plan that Mr. Jones had in just right before you, it's still on our list here.
Yeah.
So he just had like about a 20-foot driveway coming down
Yeah.
on the side. Is that still what you're?
we were thinking
plan is?
25 because the fire marshal said they would want 25 or 26, so it's whatever they would recommend.
It would need to be,
Yeah.
for my
'Cause
development.
we need
standpoint,
to
it
have
would
a fire
two-way
truck be able to go
in.
down two-way.
And where would your second means of egress be?
What do you mean second means of egress?
Out, besides
It
that?
would just be two cul-de-sacs. So
It would-
So that
would
doesn't
be-
meet code currently?
It should.
It doesn't.
Maybe
I
it
mean,
doesn't.
it doesn't. I mean, I can tell you it doesn't. So.
Okay.
But, I mean, I just didn't know if your second means was through Riverview Road or,
Riverview can't, it's a dead end.
well,
It's
it is
a paper
today.
street, yeah.
Yeah, I know, yeah. But, okay, the code requires a second means of
I
egress.
didn't
Yeah.
know. So if we needed to have a second means of egress, I guess Riverview would be one of them.
I guess we would have to develop Riverview
It would
at
have
that
to be
point.
Riverview or have somebody on Penn. I know there was a couple of properties that were that for, but I don't know. Just
Years
that.
ago, there was a house on Penn that the developer owned.
Yeah, I saw that there was a couple that came up that
Yeah.
the one just went under.
But I
That was
think
down there. I
there's-
think there was another one up.
they've
I think the developer had one
sold-
down in the corner.
He had one on Penn, but he sold it after a
Yeah.
lot of years of trying to
Yeah.
develop it.
It's a tough, I mean, it's definitely a tough site, and I wouldn't be against taking Riverview and going out that way. I don't know what the neighbors would say.
They weren't
They
happy
kinda
last
look-
time.
I just drove, I just drove back there and said, this is gonna be a tough crew back here.
They
Looking,
weren't
turned
happy
around,
20 years
came
ago.
back out. I've done enough to know, I'm like, this looks like their own area back there.
It is, yes, you turn around
Back
quickly.
when Plymouth Town was coming for their
Yeah.
second or their latest addition, one of the big things that was a fight with a lot of the neighbors in the area was adding another point of egress
Yeah, on Fairfield.
onto Fairfield. So they would have a lot of pushback against
I'm
Riverview.
sure just by driving.
And another egress onto
Yeah.
Sandy
What's
Hill.
its own now?
A.
1 acre. You're looking for
No,
C.
A is 20,000.
Is it
Double
20,000
A
square
is-
feet?
is
Oh.
an acre. 20,000.
20,000, oh, I'm sorry.
Half an acre for
If you
A.
don't mind me
Half an
asking, when you
acre.
say means of egress, like how, you're talking about the diagonal distance kind of things, like 2 points of entry for a building or for
For a street like this?
For fire.
Yeah. It's in the Salvo, for sure.
Other questions? Anybody about the proposal? Aaron, yeah?
No, I just to like have my own clarification. So you guys are asking, you have a parcel that you want to develop, but there's a portion of it that's in residential A and what you're looking for.
It's on the borderline between A and C.
It's
Right.
between A and C.
But it's currently zoned as
It's
residential
currently
A, so what you're looking
Zoned A.
trying to do is turn that into residential C. Is that what I'm getting, or is there something specific that you're?
We're hoping that if we could develop it or find the second means of egress, get it to either zoned or
Right.
your recommendation as to how to pursue making it residential C.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that's what.
It
Lowell
would
had
have-
said we could either talk to you, it's either an ordinance or it's a variance, and we just wanted to see as a committee, like what your preferences were and what kind of guidelines we
Would it be a
have.
variance for all?
From all practical purposes, if you were going to entertain this, it would have to be a text amendment.
Map.
A rezoning.
Yeah, map amendment, text amendment, rezoning, because they're not going to meet the standards for a use variance change for this entire parcel, so.
So it's actually 3 parcels.
Oh,
Four.
okay.
4 parcels.
4
yeah.
parcels, one at Sandy Hill, 1508, and then 3 more in the back, lots of record. But,
This one's vacant in the band and not really upkept, the one on Sandy Hill. So, I mean, just to float it out, like if we needed to do something where this is more open here and we're coming back out that way, I don't know if that meets the criteria.
You guys put one of those
Yeah,
across
it
right here
pretty much
between the
seems
engineer and
like the people
myself,
at the
just
back
curious.
of Vanderbilt are
So we originally said let's just meet, float it out there, see what the deal is. It's a tough site to develop, and it's gonna be, I mean, for me, I look at the numbers and it's gonna be an average.
Property here.
You know, if I do 8
There's
and I'm
3 parcels here.
averaging,
This is the larger of the 3 in
you
the
know,
back. There's 1.
2.5 million for water main,
And basically, fire
not gonna really work if I'm gonna do fire. Like the more,
So we wanted to make sure.
you know, the more,
Because the challenge of
the
the
more I
site,
can
we're
average
actually
that out,
thinking of
may make
building-
it work.
We didn't want to excavate.
So if they're come and float it after you guys.
Build in as possible.
See what you can.
I know this has been asked already, but the
Yeah, I-
main
I-
In a
difference
partial
between
section.
residential
So we
A
were
and
thinking
residential
retaining and
C is
sloping
there's
down because it does
like it
bring-
Lot
requires less.
size, it's lot
It's
size.
just
No,
lots
we're
of
really
sizes
familiar.
for the smaller
Tim, we've
houses
already heard
essentially.
3, 4 other people.
30 or more feet. Yeah, more houses.
From here.
They'll be
down
smaller,
here.
but they'll be more.
Got it.
They're not
There's a
tiny,
section
it's like
which
they're
goes to
20-100 square feet, they're single families.
But
They're not
closer
connected.
together,
They're
is
not
the lot
connected.
Was the
smaller?
retaining
They're- if
wall?
you're familiar with Andy Circle, I live on Chancery
People
Place.
on Penrose.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's similar size.
Oh, okay.
There's not tiny lots, so I think Andy Circle is C.
Taper
The
down.
ones that are
No,
going to
I
hold this out
do
over
think
there.
if this was happening.
They have a one-way in
regardless,
there
they
too,
would
and then a
probably
cul-de-sac
more
and coming
apt
back
if
out.
there was like a
Across from my
way,
house where we're
And
building.
you need to have that
Right off
second
of,
egress.
Plymouth Road there.
If it would come out onto Penn
Yeah, I
Road.
can't like
we
picture
want
it in
to-
my
So if
head.
it was A residential, there'd be 9 homes. With C residential,
Oh,
it'd
yeah.
be 28.
C residential's around 28 to 9,000 square
They
foot
used to
lots
have a
versus
house,
20.
like, right down here.
So one of
20,000.
these were for sale,
Which is A,
and that's
I believe.
the one that we were looking at.
Years ago, they owned
I
it.
could clarify what somebody knows and stuff better than me.
But they would fight a lot less if it was coming out onto Penn Road.
How many lots are there?
There's 28.
When you guys had this, I don't know how many times somebody came in to talk.
Oh, yeah.
It had to be probably, they told me 4, I'm thinking it's probably
Because of how
10,
much
6,
it's gonna cost
8,
you all the infrastructure.
informally trying to float it.
Public,
And
all ejector pumps.
Everybody's
all
gonna
these.
come in, the same mathematics comes down, that just, it's the math. If it's gonna get developed,
And a
it's
private-
math, or it
Yeah.
doesn't get developed. It's just one of those two.
And utilities are the biggest.
Utilities are the biggest thing, and you gotta average,
That's-
literally, the water main's expensive.
Yeah.
You guys charge $1,000 a foot, we would do it cheaper, but they charge $1,000.
He would prefer fire.
We gotta go 2,000.
We're not gonna fight.
That's not counting
We're
other
gonna find whatever way
incidentals,
we can
fire
get it done.
hydrants and all that.
But economically, the only way to do it is even for this home, if you wanted public water, you're spending $2 million just in the
Fairfield Road.
to get public water and sewer.
Just the good thing is Sandy Hill, the residents on Sandy Hill are gonna be able to tap into the public water if they want. I guess there's probably 10 homes,
You know, and it's
surrounding homes,
What are they using now, well?
they're using well, I guess. So they'll be able
Oh,
to
yeah,
tap.
Sandy Hill? Well, right.
Yeah.
They'll be able to tap into the
So
water.
that's like
main.
right
Once we put it in,
here,
it gets turned
and
back
this
over
would be
to.
like the light
Right.
And
there,
then one in the
that
future,
bridge,
literally
and
happened
this
to-
goes to Back Road, into like kind of town. And up here, it's like, oh, I have no idea where north is. Yeah, yeah, zoom out, go ahead. See, this is
So we're
like
looking
north town
potentially.
here,
Oh,
like-
okay, so my map's usually random, like.
Oh, got it.
And then fire.
All right.
But yeah,
Okay.
this is like
Discuss it
up
with staff,
this road from
someone
here.
back and forth.
So we're just looking for some guidance and what you guys would.
We're going to discuss it with staff and
This road.
and see what they have to say.
Yes, those are the people that would be mad about it.
Newly developed,
But it is like,
they're gonna be similar size cul-de-sacs.
like it's all stuff in between.
Thanks for your time. I mean, did you guys have any other
I
questions?
think it's
I don't
this
think,
way.
do we have any more questions for
Yeah,
Kristen or Aaron or Lynn? Any more questions before they leave?
I don't
Thank you
think
for getting us
so.
in on short notice.
Yes, we definitely
No,
thank you.
thanks for coming in. Thanks for spending the time with us.
All right, Joel has your contact.
Yes, he has our email.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, so next will be an announcement of our town hall meeting. So I guess I'll do that one.
I'm sorry, Karen, she's talking to me.
Oh, sorry, Karen. So we're going to move on to administration next,
Okay,
and we're going to announce our town hall meeting.
right. Who's going to announce that?
Okay, want me to do it, or want you to feel very strongly that you want to do that?
I could do that one.
Or you want to do it? Our new EAB liaison? Okay, go ahead, go for it. Okay, police and public safety, we will have first consideration of the volunteers real estate tax rebate, that's our
Final.
solicitor?
Yeah, that's final.
Or final?
Mike would read that.
Mike will read that, okay.
That's all been advertised, ready for final.
Okay, this next item, decertify the current entry-level police list and authorize new testing. Is that something we do now or something we discuss at the regular meeting?
You would discuss it now and give the chief direction. I don't think I think they'll both be off the agenda for next week. You're not.
We don't have to vote on it.
No votes
Okay.
tonight or next week, if you're in agreement.
Okay, let's hear from our chief.
They both are in conjunction with each other. Essentially, what I'd like to do is start a new testing process. We've exhausted, in my opinion, the best candidates off the current list, and I don't see that there's any reason to continue with that list. What I'd like to do is start a new process now, because I want to take advantage of job fairs before colleges end. I want to take advantage of the summertime to recruit. My staff and I went over a whole list here of if we started May 1st with the recruiting process, I want to make sure that we can give enough time, give the test, be in a position to hire, if council approves it, to take advantage of the police academies as well. So everything has to be timed in a certain way. So I would like permission to start the recruiting process, at the same time decertify the current list, and that's something I guess civil service would do. They have a meeting coming up on Thursday. I've also been advised by 3 of our current officers that they anticipate retiring at the end of the year or in January. 2 of them are already in the drop program, and 1 will be eligible to leave. And then I've got my proposal with council, something probably won't be decided until the budget is submitted, and all these things will come together at the same time. Again, I would just like to be able to strike while the iron is hot, because unfortunately we're also competing with all these other police departments. So I'd like to be able to give a test, and as soon as it's done, if I get the approval, be in a position to immediately hire and immediately put people in the academy, because you lose people fast. There's over 50 police departments in this county alone. So that's...
So how many officers do you anticipate will be gone from us by the end of this year, 2024?
That we're aware of now, 3 have told us that they're going to leave. It's always possible that you might lose another 1 or 2, but 3 people at this point.
Any questions? Okay. Do we want to authorize decertify the current list and authorize new testing? Yes?
Yes.
Everyone's-
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
In favor? We didn't do that formally, did we, in favor?
Yeah, that's all.
Everyone was in
Did they
favor.
vote for you?
No.
Okay, I never know what we have to
The
formally
first-
vote upon or not.
Yeah, the first one's really civil service, just so that you're okay, and the civil service actually will decertify the list. You guys don't, they do.
Oh, they do it,
They do.
okay.
So they'll vote on that probably at their meeting, yeah.
Okay.
And then you just authorized a new test procedure to begin, that's all.
Okay, upgrade of our school crossings. Is that also you, Chief?
Yes. This is something I've been in conversations with both the school district and with Holy Rosary. Just
All right.
over the years, just looking at these areas, realizing that there's a potential danger, and they haven't been kept up. Not just paint, I'm talking about technology, lighting. Unfortunately, I see that you probably all have seen White Marsh High School, Plymouth White Marsh High School. It took a tragedy there, but they really updated that crosswalk there, and it's made a big difference. So in talking to the school district, what I looked for, I said, look, we're all stakeholders here, what are we all willing to do? And they agreed to, papers here, they've agreed to help out financially and to do some of the work. So in talking to the school superintendent, they've agreed to pay for half of the lighting. So the total cost of this project, there's a lot of numbers here, but if we were to talk about the total cost of the middle school, which needs striping, Plymouth Elementary, which needs striping, and the lights need to be, first of all, they need to be moved closer because we moved the whole
That's the one on
crosswalk.
Plymouth Road, right?
On
That's a
Plymouth Road.
wide road, yeah.
And we've had people here from the development across the street talking about some of their issues there. And then I'm going to just throw in Holy Rosary, even though they've made their own offer. That area with the lighting needs to be updated. The whole project for all those things is almost $39,000. Having talked to all these people, the school superintendent and Holy Rosary have agreed to pay half of all the lighting costs. In addition to that, for all the striping, the school district has agreed, they have their own personnel, they have their own equipment to do that they said, what if we bill you for the paint that we use and we'll do the work, which saves us a couple thousand extra dollars too. So basically coming from a total project of $39,000, it would bring the project down to $22,000, savings about $17,000. It's been the only way I've been able to work it out with them because they also, it's time sensitive. They'd like to be able to do it as the school year is ending, to take advantage of the beginning of the summer, so when the kids come back to school, the project is done. And we have to coordinate not only with the school district who would do the line painting, but also the lighting company, which we have to, Higgins is who we use. We have to coordinate with them. So since we've talked about it, he said that on his end, the school board would commit to this. This is where we're at. I'm seeing what council thinks. I do think it's a good idea. Part of this total cost, though, so that we understand, on Belvoir Road, part of my proposal, which would be part of our cost alone, I'm proposing to change the middle double yellow line to move it over closer across from the school. There's a lot more room on the other side of the road than there is with the school. What a lot of other school districts have done is they've made a turning lane going into the school, because what we have is we have cars crossing the double yellow line sometimes as much as 2 or 3 feet coming against traffic to get around that. And considering that the whole reason that we have that set up is it's a school zone and there's kids crossing the street, it's not a safe thing. If I could get that moved over and I could get a turning lane with arrows pointing in, and we've updated the crosswalk, I think we can make that a much safer area. And that's probably one of our busiest school zones, and it impacts the neighborhood. People are trying to get out of the side streets onto Belvoir Road, and it's pretty much jam-packed. It's gotten better since the school built the new school. It used to block the public entrance to the township building. Now it's not that bad. It still blocks the public works and the police entrance. So we have difficulty getting in and out. So all of this would help with that issue as well.
We could put some kind of sign or something to don't block the box kind of thing for your driveway.
We do have signs.
It's already up. You do?
And I hate, I
People
don't
can't
want to be in a
read.
position where
No
we're giving
one
tickets
just
to people dropping off their kids every day. Part of what we wanted to do is also, they paint a box in front of the driveways also, in addition to the sign.
But
It's
they
just
still do
visual, it just makes it a little bit different, it makes it a little bit, I've put police officers out there, but it's just, it feels wrong. When you try and do it and people get the idea, that's great, but I'm not gonna start giving tickets to people every day that are there to drop their kids off. I just think it's a bad look. I'm looking for other ways to do it. If I can train their eyes to see what's there and it makes it a little bit easier, I think it's time. Things have grown, that area has changed, as well as these others, and when it comes to kids, I don't think that you can go wrong. So basically, an amount I'm talking about on RN, about $22,000.
Questions from council members? Is this something we have to bid
Find
out?
it in somebody's budget? I mean,
Yeah.
Is the money there?
the money there?
I mean, someone's budget has it? Your budget,
We'll have to
Kelly?
find it. It's an unbudgeted item, I'm just
Are we
saying.
doing this internally, or are we hiring someone to do this?
Actually, John said the school district's going to do it, and that they would just bill us
For the painting.
for the painting.
For the
Oh,
painting.
Higgins would do
Lighting
the
is
lighting.
Higgins.
We still
Higgins,
pay
we have a
half
lighting.
of, but
Just
it's our company.
Replace the flashing lights for the schools that Higgins would do?
I have a write-up which
The whole
I'll
thing is
show you.
22K?
It'd be flashing lights, but some
Yeah,
of
it's done
the,
with the threshold issue.
some of the lights got to be
Are
updated,
we over
like
it?
in Plymouth Elementary. That whole lighting system's
No,
gonna have
it's
to
22,
be
it's 22.
closer
Isn't it?
to the school. It's too far. It was done when the crossing
I mean,
was much
they're
further
not-
down.
we would
So
go
people
for
are hitting
22,
the
he
lighting,
said.
and they're waiting to get to the school, waiting, they don't see it, and then they
Yeah,
start
but
picking
It's
up
the first time I'm
speed.
hearing the numbers.
We're
We
not
need to
gonna
move
make
it
a
closer
deal
to
with
the
this.
It's the first time hearing the
Yeah.
numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not gonna make them.
I think we'll probably just need to get a little bit more details about the costs and how the school district is doing it. Even though we're not doing the work, if it's our money and it's over the threshold, we're going to be near the threshold, and if it's all the work being done together, it might need to be bid. But it sounds like what the chief is describing is some of the work is being done by one company, another is being done by another. If it's all under 22, 23, then it might not have to be bid. So just get some more details about what's
I
happening.
think 22,300 is the threshold this year.
Yeah.
Is that the number? I think that's the number
Yeah.
this year. That's what we just- God
When do
bless
they-
you.
I have a question. You said that they want to get this done over the summer. When do they want to get this started? And do we need to
You know what, I told them that I'd get back to them tomorrow. I didn't get into too many specifics, but they committed to their part, and I said I really have to make sure that we're able to commit. So I'll get a lot of that stuff ironed out. And if we're close to the threshold, the way that they were, I don't think it'd be a problem where they say, look, we'll kick in an extra $1,000 to get it under the threshold so that we don't have to go to this trouble, because they do want to move it along. So, I mean, they were very receptive to this. I mean, their kids as well.
Yeah, I think this can be figured out pretty easily, so.
As long as we have it broken down to like some's lighting, some's painting,
Yeah,
different contractors.
I'll get the numbers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
right.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Chief?
I'm not asking for anything else.
Well, that's not the way I meant it. Do you have any other topics, Chief?
I think that was everything. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sorry. Okay, Harmonville capital requests. Yes, Mr. Hoffman.
Do you want to read? Well, council has this letter in their books, right? Yeah, circulation 4-012 to 12. But the chief is here, John Hoffman is here. In case you have any questions, and if you have a chance to take a look at this, they're looking for a release of $500,000 from the capital improvement fund that has been graciously funded by the Township Council. And I guess they've ordered a Pierce Manufacturing truck, and they're looking forward to delivery this fall. I think we decided, like, the appropriation, what do we say? It's like, you have $490 or something $1,000 in there now, and this year's appropriation, which is always made at the end of April, anyway, is going to go into that account, so that's another $115,000, so they'll have the $500,000. So they're asking for a request, since it's such a large amount of money, that they could get a check, I guess, relatively soon. Do you have?
Whenever.
The end of April,
whenever that
early
money
May?
comes back over from the allotment for this year is fine.
Right.
We just wanted to get it on your radar now.
Right.
That way we can hit you.
You'll see it in the, when you look at the bills, and then you see a $500,000 bill, you
was
can
that
wonder what
one?
that is. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, right? That's pretty much it. So you're just looking for authorization for that. That would be something you would say, okay, tonight. It's not, you don't really have to vote.
We don't have to vote on it at the regular meeting?
No, it's, you've already voted on the money because
Right.
that's what happens at the budget time. And the township just holds their capital money. They get an appropriation for their operating needs throughout the year. Look at that check as well, but the $115,000 check, like I said, is their capital, and the township holds the capital for both fire companies. And when they need it periodically, they ask for it, just since it's such a large purchase. And like, just like when everybody else asks for their vehicles, you approved it already in the budget, but they just come back and ask because it's such a large dollar number.
Let us know the money's coming out.
Yeah, just so so everybody's aware. So is
Okay.
everybody okay with that?
Absolutely.
Everyone?
Yeah. All right, we're all aware.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Okay, next is USIC, the utility locator contract.
Yes, about a year ago, I brought this to council, and I'm requesting the consideration to put this out to a third party again, to USIC. And, it's always been a function of Public Works, the markouts, and I guess try to fill everyone in that maybe may not know what this is. Anytime a resident or a contractor puts a shovel in the ground, a one call has to be made through 811, dial 811, and any facility owners or utilities have to come out and mark their location. And Putnam Township is a facility owner of sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and electric or traffic centers. So every time we get a call, we have to go out and mark that. And again, it's always been a function of Public Works, but things have considerably changed over the years of how we do things. And the PUC, the Public Utility Commission, has really cracked down harshly on those that don't mark or fail to mark, and imposing big fines on municipalities and utility owners for not marking. The way our structure used to be is that, I guess 17 years ago, I had a sewer inspector, and also had a Public Works foreman and a Public Works director. Things have changed since then, and just actually up to 3 years ago, we had our sewer coordinator would do our markouts, and we had a Public Works apprentice that was also working in our Public Works department. And as of 3 years ago, our sewer coordinator went to Aqua, Pennsylvania, and our sewer apprentice got a job as Public Works director in Bristol. So I've been alone, going at it alone for the last 3 years, trying to do all the markouts and PM1 calls, and trying to do all this myself as far as administration goes. As of January, we pulled somebody out of Jim's department to work as our sewer coordinator. And again, I guess it came to my attention again as I was marking out my Germantown Pike and Plymouth Road, and I had put a trail truck behind me and realized when the light changed, everyone was so impatient. I'm standing in the middle of the road, with a paint can, and people are, it's quite dangerous, to be quite honest. There's a proposal from USIC. USIC, their background is they're the biggest locator in the country. They had 81 million marks last year alone that they do across the country, 1.9 million locating marks that they've done in Pennsylvania alone. If you see some blue marks or red marks throughout the township, it would probably come from USIC, as they are also the locator for PICO and Aqua America. And that would be the Upper Marion, Horsham, Tredyffrin, and Upper Providence sewer. Locally, all use USIC as the provider. Recently, I was talking to White Marsh Township, and they had a non-mark, and they just recently got a $8,000 fine from the PUC for non-marking. It's an example of some of the harsh enactments from the PUC that down on municipalities that might non-marking. So I wanted to bring it to your attention again. We, think we have the money in the sanitary sewer budget. Right now, all PA on-call bills come out of that budget as it is, and we definitely have the money to be able to do that. You have a proposal, I think you have one in front of you. Basically, the lion's share of our markouts is the per one-call ticket price of $19.50. We currently have about 200 a month, so I get about 11 calls a day, 11 one-calls a day. And the PUC wants you to be able to go out and actually look at the location, see the location, and then mark it, clear or mark it. And now the PUC is becoming mandated where they actually want facility owners to actually go to the site and do that. Currently, right now, I'll sit in my office, I'll pull up all the one-calls, and then I have to get the map out, and a lot of times use Google Earth to try to figure out where everything is. And the depth of it, either mark it clear or I gotta go out and mark it. If I gotta go out and mark it, you're bringing a book out with you with where everything's located, trying to, get a straight line on something, 1,000 feet away, looking at between marks, and it's difficult. And again, it's a two-man job, especially on the state roads, and it is quite dangerous. But just asking for your consideration to be able to do this service, I think it would be certainly have fun with my department, not a great deal.
So the next step would be to have an actual contract to look at from them, or something our solicitor would have to take a look at?
Yes, so if you want to hand this down. So this is the proposal, but this came today, that's like their master service agreement that goes with this. So I don't know if you want you or Alex to review it.
I mean, it sounds like a tremendously appropriate thing to do. I think, was this the same one last year, though, where we were concerned about, like, the restoration cap if they made a
Yeah, they did
mistake?
increase the
Or
restoration cap from 1,500 to 3,000.
Okay.
I gotta say, I was
Not
I
Chris.
took on the website today, and they actually have a 99.9% accuracy rate.
This may be outsourced.
And we're talking about 81 million.
No, they've never done it.
They've never done it.
Professionals there. And the fact that from a PUC standpoint, from the utility commission looking at Clinton Township,
Yeah.
being able to say that they hired a USIC company.
We have
shows that
to
there was
do contract
March,
authority.
people say, right now, I gotta be honest, I'm on vacation, I am doing
Okay.
calls from the front.
If they can send it to us in Word, that would be great.
And I would have to call the contractors and tell them where the location of sewers are. I was talking to Karen, trying to think about doing the electric. Higgins Electric used to do markets for traffic signals. 3 years ago, they said, can't do it anymore. We're not doing it anymore. So that's why it left me hanging. White Marsh has bailed me out a few times by coming over and doing the markup for me on the utility signal. But it's been a struggle.
sounds necessary.
Definitely. And Mike and I were just sidebarring on the fact that he thinks we could call it a professional service and use them as opposed to putting that job out to bid.
Yeah.
A minute ago, we were talking about thresholds and bidding, but this can be considered a professional service.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like it is a
Yeah.
professional service.
So I'll send the service agreement electronically tomorrow to Mike, and they'll review it.
Yeah, they said that service agreement, Mike, was a template that they're willing to look at certain things and
Sure.
adjust them based on. They have to be doing something like that. And, they have 20 local proposals in our area as we speak. And actually, in 1950, we just reorganized in January. 1950 is $3 less than what everyone else was proposed. They did the 1950 because of the work we've been doing the last year and a half with them, trying to get this done.
I see their trucks everywhere. They're all over the place. USIC. Okay, anything? from
Nothing,
anyone?
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Subdivision and Land development, we have, first action is the Outback Steakhouse, that's,
Aaron.
is Aaron. Yeah.
That's me. I just want to make sure you know I'm not going to, I'll probably be late next week because I have a memorial that I'm going to right before the meeting. I don't know if I'll be back, you know, when I'll be back. I'm trying to make it back as soon as possible, but it ends at 6:30, so I'll be going from Market Street
Oh,
down here, so.
you driving or taking a train?
I'm driving, yeah.
Do you want to assign it to somebody else? Just in
Yeah,
case,
well,
because there's not going to be
if
much
Maron's
ahead
here
of
in
it.
time, you can take it. Someone want to be back up? Oh, he was back up. Lynn will take that one, and if you get here, Aaron, we won't deprive you of it.
Absolutely
If you
not.
haven't caught your breath, we'll just, Lynn will take it. Okay, Ridge Pike is 1402 Ridge Pike is, that's Nick.
Yeah, and they are, instead of giving an extension to a date certain, they want to waive the time limit. If you read their letter, and it says, you know, they'll let us know when they want to start up again. So they just want to put the project in limbo for a little bit, and they're waiving any time limits required, and then give us notice when they want to start up again. So the first time you would vote on that, and then that would be similar to like up above the letter C, Marchese. They gave a time limit. They waived their time limit years ago, and it's still sitting as waived.
Okay, so then it's up to them to come back and
And let us know
reactivate it?
when to have everybody review it again, or when to start up.
Okay, anything from code enforcement tonight?
Nothing tonight.
Good. Thank you. All right, anyone want to take the zoning hearings? And the Home Depot one is the,
Home Depot is being continued to May.
oh, it is?
Yes.
So that would not be read out as a, that's not going to
So
the
are they
Zoom?
going to continue it at the April 15th meeting? Because it was re-advertised because last month's meeting had to be canceled.
They are going to be continuing on the record on, so yes, we should read it and
So
then announce
read it
it's going to
and
be
then-
continued.
Yeah.
Announced as being continued, okay. Anyone want to read the zoning hearings? I'll take it. Okay, Lynn wants to take that. Okay, Parks and Recreation, Bill.
We have our upcoming events. Also, it's going to be the 25th anniversary of GPCC next year. And we kind of got robbed of our 20th anniversary because of COVID. So we're getting plans out, and we're starting already. And we're planners, so we just want to give you a heads up to pencil in for that Saturday. April 8th is actually, today is actually the 25th anniversary, but the 5th is a Saturday. The other thing I had was, we're going to do things a little bit differently with the youth group funding. Traditionally, the township has given cash to the youth groups that serve the township children. And if I had to guess, I'd say it dates back to the 1960s. I mean, it's just something they've always done. To get their cash, they have to come and meet with the parks. And they also have to fill out paperwork, like a financial statement, their goals, their capital needs. It enhances the communication, I think, when they come and meet. It also puts in writing what they're up to. But talking to Karen, we wanted to make sure the council was all right with us spending this money in the future as opposed to just doing it like we always have. So I didn't schedule the Parks Board to meet with them yet until we had a chance to talk to you folks about it. And then we'll go ahead and schedule and bring them in. But I do think the money serves a purpose because it makes them come in. There was a group that we used to fund that didn't want to do the paperwork, and we didn't give them the money. So I think it makes everything better this way. It's a lot of money these groups have accumulated over the years, but this way at least we have an idea what they're doing, and they're held a little bit accountable. But it's $34,300. There's 7 different groups that we fund. I mean, it is in the budget. So.
So you're just
think the point of me bringing it up now is that if we decided we didn't want to fund them, it'd be easier for us not to tell them that now as opposed to bringing them in and then saying, oh, well, you came in, but we're not going to fund you. So just kind of trying to streamline the process a little and give council a little more control over what it is. I mean, it's just something we've always done, but I think it's important that we know that we do it and that we do it.
So what happens at budget time is you'll see when they do bring their financials in, we have a couple youth sports organizations that have over $250,000. And seems like a lot of money to be in a youth sports, group bank account. So each year the discussion is, do they really need $5,000 more from the township? Well, then we already asked them to come in the spring and give us their financials, so we should give them some money because they did that. And if we ever don't want to fund them, because most surrounding townships don't fund them, then we shouldn't ask them for their financials, kind of thing. So now's that time. And you've probably been through that discussion a couple times. You're shaking your head, Nick, so you remember that.
Yep.
And you remember that, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the question. Do you think come budget time you want to do what you've always done and give the 5,000, 7,000, I think one gets 7,000, one gets 5,000, different groups get different amounts, but, or just kind of stop that practice, and they won't bring them in and ask them for their financials now. And then,
Are there any of them that really depend upon our contributions?
I
Some of
would
the-
bet the smaller groups do.
That's what I thought.
The bigger ones, not so much. Talking about ice hockey, wrestling, those probably really do.
Really depend upon it.
Yeah, and then you've sat in on the meetings with them.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get them in if we don't give them the money. And we can certainly tell them if they're going to start to use our facilities, they still got to come and meet with us. But this at least gives, to me, it makes it easier to get them in here. So that's my perspective on it.
Any thought that we would no longer fund our youth sports groups?
Do we risk that not being offered here then, and them not coming here?
There's more to this with them coming in. Like about 10 years ago, the Parks Board required them to get background checks before it was a state law. So that was a positive thing. So we were ahead of the curve. I don't know how they would react, Kristen. I feel like they have plenty of money, but it's a small amount now. Probably was a lot more money in the 1960s when they were starting. But they can do advertising and they charge fees and those kind of things. So, there's been a lot of different models. We've said, well, maybe we should give it per child. We've asked them to give discounts to Plymouth residents. I think like ice hockey and wrestling charge less for Plymouth residents. So that would go away. I don't know. I don't think they would fold. There's lots of kids that play. So it's just been a Plymouth Township thing for a long time. It really has.
And I guess with some of them, you don't have to give them as much as they ask for, but you could still support them.
We don't want to give them what they ask for, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it worries me a little bit that we might not give to a group that is actually counting on our donation to help run for the year.
Right.
But by the same token, it does seem a little silly if a group's got $250,000 in the bank that we're giving them money while also providing lots of in-kind service. I mean, we're
Absolutely.
maintaining fields, we're giving you the gym to play in.
Utilities.
Right.
Utilities.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems a little bit silly, given how many other things do legitimately require funding from the township. But I don't know. It does. Is there a way to do that? Like it's by need, not just because you asked.
I feel like, that would make a lot more sense if it was by need.
I mean, that's just like a thought.
I mean, I really don't want to stop supporting youth sports.
Right.
That's so important for the kids, really.
I think it makes it better. It does, because they're accountable.
And I know, they obviously have a lot of children from other areas who don't support the program, even though their children come here and play.
It's true.
And we support it, but, so that's always my thing. How many Plymouth children, what percentage of Plymouth children?
I've seen that. You
told.
I know, I'm brutal. I know, I'm brutal.
Somebody's got to do it.
I mean, I agree. I don't ever want to be in a situation where someone thinks we're not supportive of youth sports. But I think we are tremendously supportive of youth sports in many, many ways, regardless of some of these
Right.
small donations. But small donations that add up in a given year and year after year.
Yeah, and maybe we really ought to look at what they have and how much they truly need and make the decision of how much we give them based on, and we get those numbers when October rolls around, and we know, and we can say, we gave you 5,000 before, but, 1,000 now is fine, given your bank balance.
And I think there's one group we've done that with who gets the smallest amount. That's only one group.
So we'll have them continue as they have.
Continue, and
then
we'll
in
make
budget
this-
time, you can decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You just have to assign the
And,
2 items above there.
Okay, so someone to read the upcoming events. I'll pick that one, I guess. And announce save the date, or just announce it's coming. It's coming.
I can do that.
What's that?
Do you
want to announce
Yeah,
that?
I'll
The
do that.
25th anniversary?
Okay.
Citizen Board vacancy announcements. Wants to read that?
I can read it.
You want to read it?
2 phases.
Okay, deer management.
So who's doing the citizen? Sorry.
Oh, Citizen Board vacancies will be Kristen. Sorry.
So the deer management, really, and the sidewalk plan, we thought maybe would be good town hall topics. What do you think of that?
agree.
Because you're looking for town hall topics, and we met the other night on the sidewalks, and I think I enclosed Tim's take on that, right?
Yeah.
That probably going to have residents in favor and residents opposed, and maybe it would be good to get resident input before 4 or 5 people deciding, who has to add the sidewalks in and who doesn't. We did look at the 2040 plan, and the problem with it really is the way it was made, there were these circles drawn around. We didn't realize to study it really, but they drew circles around schools, public parks, commercial areas, and decided that if you were within a quarter mile of a school, then you should have sidewalks, and if you were within a half a mile, of a township park, you should have a sidewalk. But that, like in Plymouth Valley, that just starts and stops sidewalks at really random places, and it really didn't make sense. Like if you went out to take a walk, you wouldn't just walk down half the street and then the sidewalk stops because you're out of the circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the circle idea didn't really make a lot of sense to us. But then we started thinking about, maybe we should have it as a town hall topic because, you'll get input from the residents. Then you can say, well, it was a consensus, or it was 5 people didn't decide. 50 or 500 people decided. What it should be. So that's pretty much what we came up with the other night. It was Jim and Kristen and Tim Woodrow and I.
Well, interestingly, I was Sunday afternoon walking around your neighborhood, Karen.
Okay.
Visiting people, knocking on their doors, and you have all these sidewalks, and everybody was in the street. They were pushing the baby strollers in the street. They weren't on the sidewalk. A couple of kids were riding their bikes on the sidewalk, but everybody was in the street and not on the sidewalk.
Asphalt is softer than concrete, Just saying.
Okay.
I walk in the street too. It's true.
I don't have a sidewalk, so I didn't know why. I
Yeah,
couldn't
that's
figure it
one,
out.
that's one reason, and if you don't want to trip, and, and watch every single solitary line, I'm not saying my neighborhood's in bad shape, but that's a different topic Jim wants to bring up, actually. Just, again, do you want code enforcement to go around and do some kind of a blitz, and look at all bad sidewalks and force people to fix them? But,
That's
anyway.
what I thought it was that
Well,
but
that's-
although the sidewalks in your neighborhood are really in
They're in
good
good-
shape.
they're in good shape.
Because you don't have those giant trees raising up
Right,
the...
we don't have, our street trees were put in our front yards, not on the curb line, but, no, you're right. A lot of people do walk in the street, I know. I'm one of them.
Yeah, it happens in my neighborhood too. That's one of the
Mhm.
things we brought up. And my sidewalks are, they're
Fine.
not horrible sidewalks.
Fine, yeah.
Yeah. And in your area, they're not horrible, but people were still in the, especially if they had like, pulling children in a wagon or
Mhm. Or
pushing
you
a
had
baby stroller.
Two or three across. I mean, the sidewalk's really only 4 feet, so it's not, it's fine for 2 people maybe, but not 3. If you had a stroller and another child and yourself, it would be kind of tight.
I've had 3 constituents in the last 3 or 4 months come email me about sidewalks, and not one of them mentions wanting to be able to walk their dog or do something like that. Although I know that is an issue. Most people mention it as I need to get from here, my house, to somewhere they want to shop or something like that. And there's multiple streets that they have to hit that are sidewalkless, and they don't want to have to walk in the street on those streets.
Well, I think it really matters when you're on a busy place like Butler Pike, where you really want to be on a sidewalk. I mean, in some of these neighborhoods, like where you live, Kristen, where you live, Karen, there's no traffic, so it's easy to walk in the street. You can't walk in the street on Butler Pike.
Right.
Yeah. I think the people that spoke to me, I think all 3 of them have to walk somewhere over by North Lane or something like that to get down to to get down to the Metroplex or over to Ashley Furniture, that area as well.
Well, the sidewalks are coming on Ridge Pike, so if
Yeah, right.
they're going from North Lane to
Yeah.
Ashley, they're okay. But yeah. So
What are
I don't know what you think, but that's kind of what we thought the other night.
I haven't looked. Are they going to put in better crossings on Ridge as well, or?
Would you say crossings?
Yeah.
I know that there's 2 new traffic signals coming, one at Industrial Way and one at Carlin Road. They're part of this project. Also, I believe PennDOT's planning to take over all these traffic signals when that's all done. I don't know about crosswalks. I don't know. They may be, adding that to them. I'm not sure. I'm sure they're all going to be ADA because they're going to put the sidewalk on both sides of the street. So the only block that they're not doing, because they already have a center turn lane, is from Chemical to Butler. And Ridge, the center turn lane already exists. The sidewalks on both sides do not, but they're really not touching that part of the Norristown to Philadelphia. That block does not get it. But that's their project. Because the center turn lane's already there.
Well, I think those are 2 really good town halls, especially, well, not especially, but the deer management, which is a real problem in the winter and the spring, early spring. It's starting to end, but...
It can be controversial.
Well, just let people can learn what the options are and what it would mean and how it could be conducted. But obviously, there are some areas like Germantown Pike where PICO has all that land, which is not our land, but a lot of deer are there, and they cross the road.
Yeah, they follow the water and the food.
Should we schedule that, or is it just a?
Well, I want to get your opinion. If you want the town hall meetings on those 2 topics, I mean that's what the sidewalk committee came up with, but for the sidewalks. But and then the deer management was something that we had been brought up earlier.
So does the sidewalk committee want to plan that town hall? And
Sure. I mean, if council wants that to be a town halls are your meetings, so if that's what if you think that's a good topic for a town hall,
Yeah.
then,
all for it.
then
That's
sure,
great.
you know.
Yeah.
Would the sidewalk committee come up with some, like, here's what we're thinking, like, versus just asking generally what people want? Like, here's what we're thinking, here's what we're proposing, could you react to it?
Sure.
Cool, I think that's great.
Okay. And deer management would be, maybe we could bring someone in from the, oh, well, he doesn't come.
I could ask. I know Whitpain has a program Upper Dublin, Cheltenham, and Abington. The fellow I spoke to was on the he was the game warden for this area, but he also was a member of the hunters in Cheltenham. I have his name. They won't give me his number.
Would he come in and give you his presence?
I could check.
But we could find somebody
maybe
who has
somebody
expertise.
from Whitpain, because the assistant parks and rec director over there is the one who was very involved in putting that deer management program together. Apparently, his name's on the program, so
they'd be willing to help us.
Maybe they could
do a
help
town
explain
hall.
how they did it. Yeah, I mean, I can certainly ask. But yeah, but the hunting would take place just in township parks. That's all we can, you know.
That's all we can do it.
It's the only place. Can't say we're coming home to your property to hunt, you know. So. All right. Okay. All right. We can schedule those, and then that'll just come off the agenda.
That would kind of finish out the calendar year for town halls, I think. Anything else from anybody? Thank you all. Thanks everybody for coming out, taking part.